Should we do the Parmi versus Parma debate? Which one do you say?
Parma.
Shit, we said the same one. Hey everybody!
Hi, welcome back to Get People Talking.
We're up to episode 7, number 2 of the new 2024 year.
And we're going to do something exciting this episode because
we're talking all things Australia. So I'm a born and bred Aussie. I grew up country. And Jane, you moved here when you were 10.
Mm-hmm. Born in New Zealand, Kiwi from overseas. Now I'm Australian and yeah, I call Australia home.
I'd say you're more Australian than Kiwi now. So sorry.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
Australian,
cool.
for sure.
So in light of an Australian public holiday that is coming up on January 26th, we decided to do an episode that is all about Australia.
I mean, we're not going to get political on this podcast, but we just want to acknowledge the big elephant in the room in the whole country that the date, should be changed and it should be called something else.
Just celebrate Australia Day a different day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the meaning behind it is not...
a day that is good for all Australians, indigenous Australians included.
Mm-hmm.
And Torres Strait Islanders.
Amazing. Well said.
Okay, swiftly moving on. Jane, do you have a recommendation for me?
Okay. I am going to recommend to you my favourite musical. It's The Sapphires.
Yes!
I've already recommended it to you and you've already seen it
I watched
recently.
it like that night.
But it is an amazing Australian film based on a true story about a band that was an indigenous group. I think they were cousins and sisters that went to Vietnam to sing for the troops fighting in World War II. Love the cast, the music, 80s funk.
Soul, girl.
Soul, that's it.
Soul music.
It was soul music. Oh, love it.
It's starring, Jessica Mauboy, Chris O'Dowd, who's one of my favourite actors ever, Deborah Mailman as well, who's iconic. Love her.
Iconic Australian actress. Yes.
Yeah, so great film. Alright, I'm also going to recommend a piece of Australian media. This one's a little bit more current. It's called Mr. In Between. So Mr. In Between, you can watch it on Binge or Foxtel Go if you've got those. It's starring Scott Ryan, who is the writer and also the main actor in it. Mm-hmm. And it's basically is this big juxtaposition between criminals and an Australian crime, and then living like a normal life as like having a daughter and having a girlfriend and his relationships outside of crime. Mm-hmm. So he goes and he does all these like hits, and it's him and his crime life.
Okay.
And then his like normal life and how they interact with each other. It's so funny.
That's a comedy.
Oh. It's comedy. They're about 20-minute episodes.
Okay, cool.
I've got a question for you. What is Australia's national sport?
Okay. Straight away, AFL. You're saying no.
It's not AFL.
Okay. So, does it have something to do with swimming? Because then that's like my second guess. No. Anything to do with water?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's not rugby because the English play rugby too. It's not cricket because the English play cricket too.
It doesn't have to be exclusive to the country.
Oh, so it's cricket.
It's cricket.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's our national sport. There is a lot of a debate though about whether it should switch to rugby or AFL.
Yeah.
But that is our national sport. I see why you said swimming though. But neither of us follow the cricket.
No.
I semi-follow the AFL. You follow the NRL. What team do you go for?
Let's go the Melbourne Storm. Yeah, we've got to support the boys. Yeah, NRL is just much more interesting than AFL, and that's in my opinion.
That is such cap. I don't even follow AFL that strong, but NRL, no, thank you. So I am a Hawk supporter. To be fair, we've had so many shit years that it's a little bit unbelievable. They're not up there at all, but it's way more interesting. Way more easy to understand as well.
I do like sport, and I've seen both. Like, I've been to both games live. To me, AFL, it's less rule-based. It's more like free-for-all tackling. That's what I see. That's why it's more like exciting and more a bit wild in the crowd. But NRL, there's more rules. There's more like restrictions. Like, it's not free-for-all is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that sucks.
No, it makes it more harder. Like, it makes the game much more interesting.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, I want to see some blokes tackle each other.
Yeah, you definitely see that in NRL too.
I think it's interesting that that's how you described AFL, because I would describe a free-for-all to be very much, and like laid back, to be very much Australia's
Culture. Yeah. Laid back Australian. Yeah, 100%. I just want to highlight Mary Fowler and Nathan Cleary dating. They just soft launched their relationship on Instagram.
Soft launch?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Kidding, it was a hard launch. It was very hard. They both had their carousels and they had like a couple's photo in each.
That's cute.
Everyone knows that they were seeing each other because they were training together and he was at her games.
Now we know which of the Matildas isn't gay. Let's clear something up real quick. Mm-hmm. Is it Parma or Parmi?
I say Parma.
Good girl.
What is Parmi is just the same thing.
It's the same thing, but it's if you're Northern Australia, you're more likely to say Parmi. Lower down, south, you say Parma.
Okay.
So if I am talking to my cousins in Queensland and we want to go to an Aussie bistro, they say that they want to get a Parmi, and I shun them. Absolutely hate it. It's incorrect. I've got another question for you. When was the first time you ever tried Vegemite?
I was probably young and I did not like it.
Do you like it now?
I still do not like it.
So I was eating Vegemite since birth.
It's such a different taste. Like, who decided that they wanted that in a jar to spread on their butter?
It's delicious.
Really? Now I actually feel like Vegemite. I would definitely appreciate it more now as an adult. When I was a child, it was no thank you. But now I can tolerate it. I still wouldn't like physically go out of my way to buy it.
When I get my toast and I want a bit of Vegemite, I am layering it on thick. That thing is black.
This is an ASMR podcast now. We're doing a Vegemite taste test for you guys. If you want to see the full video, head to our TikTok, our Instagram. But here we have the Vegemite.
Have a sniff. I love it.
It's strong.
It's like memories of childhood coming back. I reckon until I was like 12, maybe even older, I had Vegemite every single day for breakfast. I'd have Vegemite and Wheat Bix for breakfast.
So Vegemite is yeast extract.
So Hugh Jackman went on a talk show a while back. I think it was Hugh Jackman. And he said that the way to do it was with a very thin...
Yeah, thin.
Thin slice? Incorrect. That's un-Australian.
That's only to tolerate the taste. Is to
if you're
butter and then a thin...
If you're new to Vegemite, sure, do it that way.
You show me first how much you could eat from a teaspoon. That?
Easy.
What? I can't do that, Realty.
I have more than you.
Oh my gosh.
You took some off.
I know, I'm scared.
Show me. That's nothing, Jane. Alright, ready?
There's nothing.
Chaz.
Oh.
You okay?
That is gross. It is a no from me.
That was amazing. I'm so glad we did that.
Anyways, back to our normal programming.
So I am born and bred. I grew up in Mildura, which is a it's now a rural city that is on the corner of New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia. It's sort of where the states meet. So I grew up there. I grew up in a smaller suburb called Orimple, but everything there is so close together because it's country. I moved here to the city when I was 12. That was a major culture shock for me. It's very different.
I love going to rural cities.
It's amazing. They're so fun.
It's just nice. People are nice. People go out of their way to help you.
Yeah, people are a lot more friendlier and it's more slow. It's more easygoing in the country, I'd say. Mm-hmm. One thing about when I moved to Melbourne was that my accent changed because people told me I was sounded too bogan. So my accent's not as strong as it used to be when I was a kid.
No.
When was it? Last episode when I dropped a nor.
No.
Nor. Yeah. Yes, that's what it was like growing up for me in country.
Do you know when I moved to Australia, No one really told us much about like Australia Day, Invasion Day. It was just a day to celebrate. Like when the day came around, you know, merch. You just look at it as a day to celebrate because that's what it feels like when you're here. And I think it was only in my early 20s when I started realizing the actual day, what it means. And it's not really a day to celebrate.
I'm in a similar boat to you in that, especially growing up in the country, Australia Day is a day of celebration.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I learned until doing like sociology in school. Basically, the crimes against Indigenous and Torres Strait Islanders in Australian history. Like the lost generation, how we tried to assimilate them and tried to breed out all of that stuff. And that fact that we didn't even apologise for it until 2007, which is absolutely atrocious. So, and I wish I had learned about all of this stuff sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for new Australians that get their Australian citizenship on Australia Day, making it a day to celebrate.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. You get your citizenship on Australia Day.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just whatever you pass the test, or I don't know. What is the citizenship to get into Australia?
So you do a health check and you do a quiz. I think it's about like a 30 questionnaire of Australian like history and facts. And it's a multiple choice thing, and I think that you have to reach a certain like passing, get your citizenship. My cousin actually did it recently. She did it like last month.
Oh my god.
There is a practice test online, but it's so irrelevant because...
Should we do the quiz?
There's 20 questions and you have 45 minutes. This is a practice test that we found online because you're able to do practice before you do your actual test. What do you uphold and pledge during your citizenship ceremony?
To obey Australian laws.
To obey Australian laws, to work hard.
Australian laws. Yeah.
What is the one thing that a person must understand and expected to respect and uphold? Australian laws, values, oaths, or citizenship?
Laws.
Oh, it's actually Australian values. Fuck the Australian laws.
That is actually really surprising to me. Wow.
But you can't show that to a policeman when you get pulled over. But it was fair. But I don't care. The law says do not. Right? Australia's government system is called what?
Australian government. Huh?
Parliamentary democracy.
Never heard of that term in my life, by the way.
When applying for citizenship, what are the things you must know about the government system? The responsibilities and privileges, how laws are made, incentives and advantages of being Australian.
Responsibilities and privileges. How laws are made? Do you know how laws are made?
No.
Okay, I do, but I did legal studies. That's the only reason why. Otherwise, I don't think if I asked my brothers that, they would know.
No.
Who are also born in Australia.
Mm-mm.
Wow, okay.
You scored 70%.
Oh my god, I didn't even pass.
Oh, you must score at least 80% overall and must achieve 100% in the Australian values. Which, what did you get in the Australian values? 60%. You are not deemed good enough to be Australian. Retake your test, babe. Go back and study.
I'm having a crisis of identity. Wow, okay. I don't know how anybody passes this friggin' test if I can't. And I'm very Australian. So, thank you guys so much for listening to episode 7, all about Australia. You can find us on TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram.
The whole shebang.
The whole shebang, baby. Chuck us a follow, give us a rating on Spotify because it really does help us out. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Wait, but do you like our t-shirts?
Slay. Go. Get it.
Slay.
Get it, girl.
We have these t-shirts from Clothing the Gaps, which is a indigenous non-for-profit foundation. And yeah, just go check them out on Instagram and support them. They've got a shop in Brunswick. You can go check them out. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks with the next one.
Bye.
Bye.